What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and I'm here in Highland Park at Bob Baker Marionette Theatre, which has been a rite of passage for children in Los Angeles for more than 60 years. This is a beloved LA institution, not just because it tugs at the puppet strings, but it tugs at the heartstrings as well. Let's get into it. The first thing you gotta understand is that the atmosphere inside the theater is fun, it's electric, it truly is magical for people of all ages. The original Bob Baker Marionette Theatre was in a building in downtown Los Angeles purchased by Baker and his business partner / master puppeteer Alton Wood in 1961. Initially, they used the rundown shop to store and to craft their puppets, but by 1963, they opened the full-time theater, Bob Baker Marionette Theatre. So Baker fell in love with puppetry after seeing a Christmas play of Jack Sprout at the Baker Brothers department store in downtown LA as a little child. Soon he asked his parents to buy him his own puppets, which he purchased at the Bullocks on Wilshire, and he fell in love with the craft, and he started producing his own shows in the backyard of his house called Petite Theater, and by the age of 10, he was making his own puppets. Look at this craftsmanship. This is the oldest puppet in the collection, believed to be from the 1930s or 40s. Wow. While attending Hollywood High School, Baker continued his craft and would manufacture toy marionettes that were sold both in the United States and Europe. Following graduation from Hollywood High, Baker began an apprenticeship at George Pal Animation Studios. That resulted in a promotion to head animator of Puppetoons, a landmark studio that produced animated stop-motion puppet films. By 1944, Baker went out on his own, and he built up his business to the point where he had 2 buildings to manufacture puppets. By 1948, he had orders for 50,000 puppets. I mean, the quality and detail on Baker's puppets were unparalleled, and he was also the first puppet maker to feature multicultural puppets, no small feat in the 1940s. For the next 5 decades, Baker's vision was brought to life with more than 3,000 puppets and thousands of shows that entertained more than 1 million people throughout Los Angeles and really did become the rite of passage, especially for children. In 2009, Bob Baker Marionette Theatre was recognized for its legacy and impact on Los Angeles by being named an official Los Angeles Historic Cultural Monument. 5 years later, in 2014, Bob Baker passed away of natural causes at age 90. In 2017, the theater faced its greatest challenge, the curtains coming down on its dream, as a developer wanted to evict them from their historic theater in which they'd been performing for 5 decades plus. But like one of the resilient characters in a Bob Baker Marionette Theatre performance, they refused to let the dream die. After an extensive and sometimes heartbreaking search, the theater found new life in a former church and a former theater on York Boulevard. This is a historic 1923 building that once was a vaudeville and silent film cinema, and it provided the perfect stage for Bob Baker's legacy to continue. So it's not just the marquee that has been restored, it's really the dream, the essence of Bob Baker Marionette Theatre, with original seats from the historic theater, with the set, with the decor, and of course all the puppets. This is not just a recreation or rehabilitation, this is the next phase in the evolution of Bob Baker Marionette Theatre. And I have to tell you, this really is a fun place to catch a show. Bob Baker Marionette Theatre, you gotta do this. Standing proudly in Highland Park today is the Bob Baker Marionette Theatre, 6 decades strong as the longest running puppet show in the United States and a rite of passage for children and people of all ages in Los Angeles. All right, LA, it's been a minute.